Bookcase and Coffee presents Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance episode. It is me, Becky, and with me this time is Leah. Hey, Leah.
Hi, Becky.
How's it going?
It's going okay.
You're like laughing. What did I do this time?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
On this episode, we're viewing The Accidental Tryst by Natasha Boyd. This is book one in her Charleston series. Okay, Leah, give us the synopsis from Goodreads.
Okay. Excuse me. Meet Trystan Montgomery, suit monkey, commitment-phobic serial dater. No more than 3 dates unless he hasn't, Emmy. What a disaster. I only just made my flight to New York to help my uncle, and the phone I'm holding is not mine. It seems to belong to some commitment-phobic serial dater who's never made it past 4 dates, according to the constant notifications he's getting from his fake dating profile. And worse, I have a sinking feeling it's that hot suit monkey with the Arctic gray eyes I just had a run-in with at the airport. Somehow I have to persuade him not to get a new phone until I get back. My whole life is on that phone. It's only a few days. Surely we can handle it. Trystan, this is a joke, right? My life could not get more fucked up. I'm in the middle of selling my company and on my way to a funeral, and that hot mess hippie-chick stole my freaking phone. I'm not sure how she convinced me not to immediately walk into a smartphone store and get a new one, but now she's going to have to play stand-in and distract me while I deal with my long avoided and estranged family. I don't have my dating apps after all, and frankly, she's pretty funny and sexy. And why can't I stop texting her? And now we're talking. And look, I'll admit that I usually run for the hills the morning after, but the morning after phone sex, that's not really real, right?
The release date on this is March 6th of 2018.
I didn't realize it was that old.
It is. So that'll be an interesting piece to talk about it. It's meet cute, afraid to commit, billionaire, long distance relationship, opposites attract, scars from the past, mixed up, meet cute, and a slow burn, because it is the summer of slow burns.
But it's more a slow burn in the sense they didn't even meet on page, face to face, until 60% into the book, wasn't it?
Almost 70. You're talking just the last 30% of the book. Are they even in the world?
In the periphery of connecting.
Yeah. And then Steam level's a 2.5. It is not a super sexy book. However, it is not fade to black. Or closed door. Okay, so let's start. First of all, this book was released in March 16th of 2018. So it's almost 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Technology-wise, it holds up.
It does. And I feel like they didn't focus so much on, yes, they talked about the apps on a phone, but most everything was just through text and calling. So there wasn't a lot of WhatsApp, they weren't speaking directly to different apps that you can use for different things. It was all in generalizations, aside from I think she commented about FaceTime.
Right.
So they're iPhones, but that's
But they talked about how, he had a passcode on his phone. She did not have a passcode.
Mm-hmm.
And she got a kid on the airplane to hack and get past.
And I would like to know what exactly she did to get this.
We don't really ever know, do we?
It's alluded to, but you don't know for sure.
Right.
But that kid shows up a couple times later in the book, though.
He does. I think that is so funny. So overall, I would say just because it's a 2018 release, it totally holds up and is still relevant. So let's talk about their mixed up meet cute.
Yes. So they're in the airport. Emmy is flying to New York and Trystan is flying into
Charleston.
So he is like on a meeting, like swearing and like doing his like thing.
Well, they're at the bank of like computers. They're like in an executive lounge. She's trying to charge her phone. He's charging his phone.
He's trying to charge his phone.
He's on his laptop trying to do some stuff, and she's just falling apart. And so he gets up and leaves first.
But leaves his phone charging.
Leaves his phone charging.
Which, I mean, honestly, what kind of dumbass does that?
Right. So Emmy, her contents of her purse falls out. She starts just grabbing stuff in a hurry because her flight has been called. And she is dumping things into her purse.
And grabs a phone that looks like hers.
Yep. And heads to her plane to New York.
Yes.
It's not until the plane touches down in New York that she realizes she does not have her phone. She has someone else's phone. And she figures out that it's probably the stuck-up suit monkey who has her phone. And that's what she calls him for like 90% of the book, suit monkey. Like,
well,
it's
and
so
like
funny.
she puts him in the phone because she puts her number in his phone so that like she like knows it's him popping up. And so it comes up like every time he sends her a text is suit monkey.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And they have the text conversations in the book. It's not just like, that's another thing with this book is I'd say probably 60 to 70% of the book is their text conversations. And I like the way that it was done though, because sometimes I feel like text conversation, it doesn't always format well and it's distracting the way it's on the page, but this one was not.
No, this was done really well. And I actually listened. So this was a reread for me. And I listened to the audiobook on this one. And it's just, I think the text messages, the way that it is done is really well done. Sometimes, like you said, they can be formatted weird on the page or the dialogue doesn't always fit around well to the story. But because the majority of this story happens in text message, it's very well done. It's just very well done. So let's just talk about Trystan, serial dater. He has like 8 apps on his phone that she says?
Well, he has like 8 apps, but his profile name is Jake, I think.
Right.
Like not even close. That's the thing. Like he has like a max like 3 date total. Like I don't think he sleeps with as many as like it comes off with like as. I mean, I'm sure he does sleep with a decent amount, but like at the same time, like he has this 3 date rule, sometimes 4, but it never really moves past any, like it's very surface. Everything is surface.
Well, and he is commitment shy, but he comes from a bit of so like, I think his baggage really defines who he is. And sometimes a backstory just kind of bogs down a character. And I think in this instance, Trystan's backstory really helps us get to know him as a character. So his mom got pregnant at a young age from a man who was in the area of Charleston, but was from England. When they find out she's pregnant, she goes back to England with him. They get married, or do they get married?
No, they
don't
didn't
get married.
He didn't really want much to do with them. Like he gave them her money, but he wasn't really involved.
So they moved to England and lived there. And that's where Trystan was raised until he was about 11 and his father figure died. And then they came back to Charleston for a while.
Yes.
And when they came back, his mother started sleeping with one of his grandfather's associates, like having an affair. And when Grandma and Grandpa found out about it, they kicked her and Trystan out.
Yes.
And she and Trystan went back to England, where he continued to grow up and be raised by his mother. But there was never, he's very bitter towards this family in Charleston. Like there was never, in his opinion, any time that they reached out to him. His mother died of cancer. And as she was dying, he contacted the family and nobody contacted him back. After he graduates college, he goes to New York and decides to dabble in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little bit of a run-in with the wealthy grandfather, but not really. Like, they're not face-to-face ever.
Well, and yeah, never directly. It was always like on the periphery. Like his grandfather would like try and buy something that he was trying to buy. So like the grandfather stayed in Charleston. Like he didn't leave Charleston, but he was trying to make contact in an obscure way, which makes no sense, but it made sense to like the grandfather that's how he would do it.
Yeah. So Trystan is in Charleston for just a few days because the grandfather has died. He's been summoned. He knows that there is going to be a will read right after the funeral. And the text messages between him and Emmy in the church, in the funeral. Oh my God. So funny. So very funny.
One thing that like, he's so serious and she is not. Like she has very serious moments and like she takes her job very seriously and there are aspects of her life, but like she doesn't really have a filter. She just kind of, even in text, she blurts things out. And I feel like her personality really shined, like even in her text messages.
Yeah. So let's talk about Emmy a little bit. She's the complete opposite of Trystan in a way, because she's all alone in the world. Other than she has a very small, close network of friends.
Yeah.
And then her uncle David, who has dementia. And that's why she's headed to New York, is because the care facility on Long Island is telling her that he's got to find a more secured place for him to reside that deals with
well, and it talks about too, like how she goes up every like once a month or every couple of months to visit him because he is her only family left. Like, and he technically, like he was her foster uncle, like adopted uncle, because her foster parents adopted her and it was her adopted mother's brother.
Yeah.
There's a tongue twister there. But so he's the only family she has left. So like she wants to make sure that she helps take care of him and he is comfortable.
She loves him unconditionally. She's doing everything. She's actually paying outside of Medicare. She is supplementing his income because there was some kind of scandal and he lost a lot of money. Like stock market fallout, Ponzi scheme. It's not exactly directly ever said what the fallout was from, but he didn't have money either. So, and one of the things about Emmy, and I think that this really comes into play in the resolution of the story, she is so used to people leaving her that even though she's attracted to Trystan, she puts up some big walls and obstacles against him.
Yeah, well, and I don't even think she puts them up. I think they were always there. She just kind of reinforces them because he, like, the more they talk, the more cracks there get in those walls. And she's so deathly afraid that somebody is going to break through and she's going to get really attached and then they're going to leave. Like she has already experienced that more than she ever wanted to. And she doesn't want it to happen ever again. So she, like, that's her, like, it comes across like that is her biggest fear, that somebody is going to get through those walls and then they are going to leave.
Yeah. So we did say the steam level in this book is kind of on the lower end. It's not fade to black. It is not closed door. It is, but there's only like 2-3 steamy sex scenes.
Probably.
But the phone sex scene was very well done. It was
very well done. And I think the way that it transpires, like you feel the chemistry coming off the page, like as you're reading it and like you're going through all these text messages, but then like you get to that scene, you're like, ooh, like, you know, it's going to be good.
Yeah. It was really well done. Sometimes it comes off as awkward.
It does. Yeah. But it flowed really well. And I think, again, this stems into the talent that Natasha Boyd has in giving us these text conversations, because it flows so well through the entire story. There's no disconnect or disjointment, like from going from text to the real life. Like it just it flows well.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention Emmy's cat. There is a hilarious scene where the cat is staring in the corner, and Trystan has rented Emmy's apartment, and she said, "Don't mind the ghost or the cat." And he
freaks out.
The cat is staring at the corner and will not move, so he's convinced there is a ghost in the corner, so he sleeps on the couch because he can't sleep in the bedroom.
But then there's that one scene where he like gets attacked by the cat.
So funny. So funny.
There's just a lot of little moments in this book.
And there is a great cast of supporting characters. That's something I think that this story does exceptionally well, is even though the main part of the book is Trystan and Emmy and their text conversations, we get these little glimpses of the nurse's aide that's taking care of her Uncle David. We get the kid on the airplane that helps her hack, the YouTuber streamer that helps her hack the phone, her best friend that owns the restaurant that's the Colombian guy, her pregnant best friend, and even Trystan's grandma, uncle, and cousin make small little sprinklings in there. So even though the majority of the book is the two of them, you do get little insights.
Well, but there weren't any characters in this book that were really throwaways. Like, yes, you have those like random interactions with people in the street and things like that. But there are some books where there's a random character that it just doesn't make sense why they're there or why they're in the book so much. But this entire cast of characters had purpose and meaning. And there was like thought behind every interaction and every conversation, and every time a supporting character was on the page, it makes sense to the story and it supports the story.
Yeah, it was really well done. Okay, so let's get to our 3 questions, because I do not want to spoil this and
and if
the
we
dancing
really talk about
and
because there's a lot of little things, but if you talk about them, then you kind of give a lot away, just the way the book plays out.
So, okay, Leah, did you like this book?
I did like this book. You recommended this book to me, and I was a little like apprehensive just because like it's a slow burn and you claim not to like those.
I know, but it's the summer slow burn. I'm staying on character.
But it was really funny, and I really did like how most of this book, their interactions were on like the phone, and it played out really well. What about you?
I did think that this was a funny, unique read. I love this. This is one of those sleeper reads. I read it, and like book 2 was not out when I read this book. And so then I'm like, this is her debut novel. Like, this is her first book.
Oh,
and I was like, yes. And I'm like,
it does not read like a first book.
She has this book, and then she has a historical fiction, and then book 2 has come out since then, which is the cousin's story. I just couldn't get enough of it. I thought it was funny and quirky. I also think it was such a unique modern twist to do a sleepless in Seattle styled meet cute and instant connection.
Yeah.
It was just a unique way to do that without retelling, through a radio, because radio is a little outdated now. Versus this was like a modern twist on Sleepless in Seattle. So I just loved that. So who would typically like this book?
Fans of slow burns, but chemistry, a lot of chemistry leading up to the slow burn, and fans of rom-com. Because it is a general basic rom-com, but it's not like kitschy or anything like that. Like,
no, it's
not
a well
over the
done
top.
Yeah. Well done rom-com. It is an instant connection that makes sense, because even though they have that instant connection, the fact that they're in different cities and time zones plays out at a slower pace.
Well, and they're like, most of their relationship is not created face to face. So like, yes, they know what each other looks like, but they basically got like a glimpse, and that was it. So their relationship is established building on their personalities and like their phone interactions, which you don't get that a lot.
You don't. So would you recommend this book?
I would definitely recommend this book, and I really am excited to read book 2 because I think Bo's book is going to be good.
Yeah. I would totally recommend this. I recommended this to Leah. And it does actually hit quite a few summer reading challenge
Bingo squares.
So
it does.
And that is this episode drops on the 24th, which means you have like a week left to get all those summer reading in. Yes, I am.
It's been so much fun.
It's been so much work. It has been a lot of fun and everyone has really enjoyed it, but I'm ready for the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us for this quick shot of romance. Until next time.
Happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.